welcome to Devlog 1. My name is Justin, and I am the project manager for Starting from the STEM. And before we go into what we have accomplished so far and what the mission for our project is, I'll first like to discuss what I believe is one of the biggest problems facing society as of now, that being the educational system. Starting off, education is very expensive, especially here in the United States, where it costs between $10,000 and $16,000 to send a single student to public school for 1 year, with that number increasing to $20,000 once they go to college. This adds up to about $200,000 to $300,000 over a 16-year time period. And even with all this money, our educational system is not very effective, with America scoring 40th out of 40 countries surveyed when it comes to math. This number shows again with only 26% of 8th grade students being proficient at math. 1 in 5 Americans in general struggle with literacy, and only 36% of 4th graders being able to read above grade level. And since our schools are not going to teach our students critical thinking, problem solving, or real life skills, I have started Starting from the STEM in order to fix this issue. Starting from the STEM is a comprehensive web application that stands upon 3 pillars in order to teach students more effectively, that being artificial intelligence, gamification, and smart study techniques. Starting off with AI, this can definitely be a massive game changer for education as a whole, because as of now, teachers are one of the largest liabilities when it comes to education, as they can be very inexperienced, they can be overworked, and they may not have the right type of information to teach students to the fullest extent. However, AI suffers from none of these issues, and for that reason, this project is divided into 2 parts. The first part being the front-end and back-end website parts, and the second part being a custom NLP. As of now, we'll be using ChatGPT, especially its 3.5 turbo models, for most of our testing and likely future use. And later on, hopefully we can use our custom trained Phi2 models in order to have a more independent type of AI code, more tailored towards education and tutoring. And instead of just using AI as a chatbot to communicate with, we're planning to use AI in combination with smart study techniques in order to increase the effectiveness of both. Which segues nicely into our next segment, smart study techniques. It is likely that you have heard of these before. These include the Feynman technique, the learning technique, the dual coding, and many dozens of others. I have found personally that in order to succeed in school, you first have to learn these techniques, because rote memorization and just trying to remember things from lectures or rewriting and rereading notes do not work well at all in terms of memorization and real-life application. However, many of these smart study techniques can be massively improved with AI. As an example, I'll use the Feynman technique, which is also called the rubber duck technique, which is the idea that through the process of teaching someone some type of information, you're able to learn that said information more deeply and also see the connections it makes to other sorts of topics. And it is called the rubber duck technique because usually someone will get an inanimate object such as a rubber duck and they'll pretend like they're teaching it to them, and by doing so they'll often see holes in their knowledge, or they'll be able to master concepts more effectively. However, one big problem with this is that the rubber duck is never able to talk to you or ask you deeper, more prodding questions. So in this situation, we'll use AI in order to pretend to be a child or some person not knowledgeable on the topic, which would ask this student questions that will further prod the student to explore the topic in a deeper sense. And by doing so, the students will be able to have a complete idea of what they're teaching and what their knowledge gaps are. This is just one example. However, we have ideas for many different components just like this, which I'll show in a second actually. The final pillar in our app is through gamification. That being trying to use the methods video games use to get people addicted to video games in order to try to get people addicted to studying instead. Primarily, these tactics involved a point system where students will be awarded for getting more practice problems done, and these points will eventually be used in the store in order to buy items in which the student will be able to add to their base and build up their experience score. But enough talking, let's get to the actual progress that we have made inside of our code. Okay then, let's get right to it. As we can see over here, we have a landing page for our website. As of now, it's just very simple. We have some UI UX design going on, but aside from that, we don't have too much else. We have a Palm game to demonstrate our WebGL progress so far, where we're trying to design our own game engine. But so far, we have a very humble design. We can go sign in as of now. Oh, and looks like I've already signed in, or it remembers my previous sign-in. So to demonstrate actual signing in, we do have a next off, OAuth sign-up system. As you can see over here, I'm going to go sign up as a student because we have two different options to do so. And right now there's a little error, but that's something that we're trying to fix currently. But as we can see over here, we have a full website or a full dashboard page with this main section that just mostly has filler data, just front-end stuff we're going to fill in later with the actual back-end. And over here on the side we have our main stats sidebar, and this is where most of our gamification is going to happen for the time being. As we can see, we have different levels for how much XP you get. We have different streak levels, knowledge and seed currencies, along with intelligence and growth currencies. Those would be our overarching currencies they can get for being focused, spending a lot of time studying, so on and so forth. And we're going to implement that later. And we have subject-specific currencies as well. As we can see over here, we have about 10 of them. These to gain points with these, you'll have to score points, do practice problems inside of the subjects in which we are studying. So if you were to be a programming student and you were studying programming, you would get more byte points. Science would be atoms. Social studies will get agra, and then business studies will get capital, so on and so forth. This is just the dash page right now, and we don't have too much to it. Our bigger sections come here inside of the study spaces and then the courses section. So study spaces are basically just places where the student can come inside, make very organized notes, make their own exercises, and so on and so forth. As you can see, we also have the sidebar over there as well. We can create a new study space. We can call it whatever we want to. Physics. Call it that, and then we can create it. And we have successfully created physics. We can click on it to open. And there you go. It takes a little while to load. So this is our current study space. As of now, we only implemented markdown editors, but if we were to make a folder name, what's the concepts in physics? Energy. I can create the folder. It'll take a little while, but we can create the folder and it'll save to our database. And right here, we can make an item inside the folder and select what type of item it will be. We have only implemented markdown notes for the time being, but we will add all these other ones as shown over here. When we add that, there we go. We can create a folder system with an item inside. We can type stuff inside of the folder, inside the item I made, and then we can save it. And after a little while, that should save. And then if we go and reload the page, as you can see, it's all still there. So this works well. It's a nice system. However, we have to improve it a lot more by adding the study techniques that we have discussed previously, such as the Feynman technique, active recall, and dual coding. But places that we have kind of implemented those already will be the courses section. And if we go over here, it's the UI is a little bugged right now. I have to fix that a little bit. But as you can see over here, we have two different courses that I've already signed up for, but we can also select courses. There you go. That took a little while to load. But as we can see over here, these are courses created by instructors, and I'll show you how that works in a little while. But if we go over here to the very right side, go inside of that. Once again, it takes a little while. We can see into this course, and we can see all the new pages, all the new basic building blocks, and the quizzes and different tests in here as well. If we go and sign up for this, we can enroll. It's going to check our identification, and we can hit go to course, and oh man, looks like it already automatically did it. But if we go back to courses, we can see that it's already here as well. So we can click inside, we can see our progress, and we're currently going into an error where we can't see the components right now if we go into one of these pages, but I'm going to try to get that fixed. I guess, yeah, you can see over here, these components, these building blocks that we use to build the courses, they're not visible yet, but we need to fix that. How you can go see that is actually over here. If we sign it back out, this is the student's point of view. But if I sign out, log back in with my different account, see over here, there you go. As you can see, I am an instructor, and I have already created two courses, Demo Course and Demo Course 1. I can create a new course. Did I click on that? Oh yes, I did. There you go. So maybe I want to create a math course, Math 101, and for the description I'll just put some random stuff in there. It'll create that. Now we can go inside and hit edit. I think I need to improve the backend portion of this because it is a little buggy. But we're going to switch over from Next.js API into a more robust backend system. So as you can see over here, we can create units. We can edit what type of course this is. As you can see, our description and title are right there. We can choose the type of course this is, and then we can create units. Maybe I call this addition. And it'll take a little while. Oh wait, did I? There you go. Now we can go say add info page. An info page would be the most basic building block of this. As you can see, we can go in here, we can see, there you go, unit editor, unit name and description, and we can also go into the info page, and it should take a little while. There you go. We can go here, add text blocks, add a YouTube video link, add an image, and we can also add the Feynman technique as we have discussed previously. So, in this text block we can type in whatever stuff and then we'll be able to save that. If we save the page, we can refresh the website, come back to it, page is still there, information is still there. And then right here just the Feynman technique, which I think is one of the coolest part of our apps. Essentially is the rubber duck technique we have talked about before. However, over here we basically just start off with a starting question. Why is the ocean blue? And then the instructor would make a list of learning objectives. So essentially you'll have these objectives and then we will have a number of follow-up questions. So what will happen is that the student would, in a text box, answer the starting question, and then the AI that we're using, which is ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo, ChatGPT would evaluate the student's response and then try to make a second follow-up question, trying to prod the student's knowledge further. And then it'll keep doing this until we have completed all our objectives or the student fails. So If the student's able to get a good enough score, they'll be able to get currency points, that being anything that the instructor selects. So this way, if we have a science course, students can gain atom points for getting a science frame and technique question correct. So this way, while the students are doing their reading and video watching, they're able to do active recall and be actively engaged in the content instead of just passively reading or listening to it. So I think we have, oh, thinks I'm dragging it, but I'm gonna fix that too. But we have saved the page, and yeah, there we go. So if I sign up back as a student, it should take a second. There we go. Now, you can hit select course again. And as we can see over here, Math 101 has already been added to our course selection. So we can go select it, and once again, we can come inside of here, enroll, and we can go to course. As we can see, it's just like before. We have new info pages, units, so on and so forth. And that's mostly the progress that we have made so far in this project. We have a whole lot more work to do, especially getting the courses correct. But once we get the system correct, it'll be very easy to add lots of new courses in here. Essentially, we'll just be going to textbooks, grabbing the data, and then putting it inside of here so that the information is free or very affordable for students around the world to learn. We have a few other cool study techniques. One of my group members made this very nifty technique called the promoter technique. So over here, essentially it's just a timer in the corner that once you set, you can have a set 25-minute study period, and then afterwards you get awarded with more XP points. That way students develop healthy habits of studying, the most optimized time being 25 minutes of studying with 5 minutes of rest, in that order. And then this can all be put in the background and still counts for us so that the students would know what to do. Well, that about wraps up our first devlog for starting from the STEM. I'm incredibly grateful to have such a hardworking and dedicated team to our project. I know that since we're in college, it is very difficult to make time to do these kinds of things. However, they show up very consistently and get a lot of work done, and for that I am very grateful. Moving forward, I'm going to be posting about once a week, maybe twice, depending on how much progress we made on our app and depending on how busy I am. But aside from that, this is going to wrap up today's devlog, and hopefully you tune in next time to see the progress that we make. So that'll be all. Thank you for coming today.